Jags-Titans, next game that we want to talk about.
Texans.
Jags-Texans, the other game that we want to talk about here. Jags-Titans will come up at some point later this season. Maybe I was just previewing that. You
Twice
don't know.
Even.
This is true. This is how division games work. The Houston Texans win this game at the buzzer. Well, not at the buzzer, but coming down to the wire. 24-20. Let's take a look at the Houston Texans' top-graded players. Nico Collins remains at the top. Just one of the best wide receivers that we have in this league. Last year, not a fluke at all whatsoever. 89.8 overall grade. Cornerback Derek Stingley next on the list with a 79.1. Stephon Diggs with a 77.1 as the number 3 guy. Azeez Al-Shaair with a 73.1. Running back Cam Akers with a 73.0. And then C.J. Stroud with a 74.5. Flipping sides to Jacksonville. Josh Hines-Allen, their edge rusher, 82.1 overall grade. Brandon Scherf with an 81.5. Brian Thomas Jr., their rookie wide receiver. Not Star Wars, not a Wookiee. 81.1. Offensive tackle Cam Robinson with an 80.0. Defensive tackle Mason Smith with a 75.2, and then Trevor Lawrence, a 57.9. Jags now 0-4 on the season. They are the only winless team. They're in sole control of the number 1 overall pick for the 2025 NFL Draft. Just want to say, shameless plug, NFLSC, we're doing a mock draft later today. Jags will be picking number 1. What was the stat that told the story here, Dalton?
Real quick, could you imagine a Wookiee in a football uniform? Pads and helmet and everything? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Got to be playing left tackle, right? Or nose tackle.
Got the length. They're like 8 feet tall, aren't they?
Oh, 3-4? Yeah. No, 3-4 end, you know?
Well, that could work.
You know, J.J. Watt comp.
Just get the bench going. Yeah,
right,
I feel you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jaguars really struggling to cover. 46.2 coverage grade.
Not good.
In this game. 46.2 team coverage grade. 7 missed tackles. They allowed 20 first downs through the air and 2 touchdowns. And for the season, they've given up the 2nd most pass yards per game and the 4th best passer rating. We saw last week they went man-to-man a lot against the Bills. Didn't work so well. They didn't give up as many explosive this week. They went a little more zone, a little more kind of sitting back in cover 2, some too high coverages, and letting Stroud work through them, and he kind of worked through them anyway. This Jaguars team right now without Tyson Campbell, they're just struggling to cover. They're struggling with a lot of things, but struggling in coverage against a quarterback like C.J. Stroud. I mean, there's too many guys running open. And I know Stroud is great. I know he makes the C.J. Stroud plays, and he gets on the move. He can do everything, but too many guys just running wide open. It's been a theme so far this year. They are just struggling to cover. And for an offense that is struggling to manufacture and sustain drives, actually, I thought their offense looked better in this game than they have. Better, but not great. They need their defense to step up too. I know Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback and he gets all the talk, and how much do we blame Trevor Lawrence, and is he a bust, and this and that and the other thing, but help me out here on defense. And they had a late lead, and I know the Jags, there was part of this game too where the Jags just didn't put them away. They had the ball. It was the very end of the third quarter, early in the the fourth quarter, the first play of the fourth quarter was at the 1-yard line, 4th and 1 from the 1. Didn't put them away then. A couple of chances on the next few drives to put the Texans away then, and there's just no complimentary football being played on this team.
No.
None.
No, and it goes back to sort of the conversation that we've had with the Jags. And my stat that told the story is a stat that I've brought up already multiple times this year for Jacksonville. It is their third down percentage, because they are a team that is bottom 3 in the NFL when it comes to third down percentage. You are not going to be able to succeed on offense the way that you need to week in and week out if you are so poor. If you are as poor as the Jags are on third down. 33% this past week against Houston. They're just 4 for 12. I mean, when it comes to the money down and continuing drives, you talk about, okay, this is a team that had the lead, right? I mean, it was a team that had the lead against the Dolphins in week 1. It feels like the Jags, they're not horrible. They've had some bad games, like the game against the Bills was bad, obviously, but this is a team that's been close in some of their losses, and it's against good football teams, right?
They were 8-3 last year. This isn't that long ago.
Right.
Week 11 or 12 of last year is not long ago, and all of a sudden they just can't find any sort of way to win.
They cannot do what they need to do to sustain drives and have an identity on the offensive side of the football. They don't. The defense, it's going to be more cyclical anyways. Defense is just a roller coaster. It often is. The offense cannot be as much of a roller coaster as it is right now, especially when you have an offensive-minded head coach. Doug Peterson was brought in to stabilize these things. Press Taylor's the offensive coordinator because hopefully the things that he is able to call You have a lot of continuity with Trevor Lawrence and the confidence of where the ball was going, and it just doesn't feel like they have any of that going back to the last, 6-7 games of last season? So, to me, Jacksonville does not know what they want to do. They don't have bread and butter plays. They don't have a go-to player when they really need it, when the game is on the line. And like I said last week, it's always something with this team, and to me, that manifests itself in how bad they are on third down, because there is just too much that can go wrong with this Jacksonville team right now. And it sucks to watch because I think they're really talented, but they are in the driver's seat for the number 1 overall pick, and Doug Peterson's got a tough uphill climb to not be the first head coach fired.
I'm with you, considering what we've seen from them so recently, the playoff run in 22 and an 8-3 start last year. It's shocking that they're 0-4. It is. It doesn't make sense with the amount of talent. If you would ask me, hey, which team, if you had to pick one team in the NFL to start 0-4, who would it be? I would not pick the Jaguars. 100. There's no way. I'm like, they're going to find a win with the talent they have and Trevor Lawrence, and they're going to find something. But here we are. Let me get to Lawrence real quick, actually, for the most disappointing part, because I'll be honest, I'm a Lawrence defender. I think he's really good. I think he's a franchise guy. I think he earned the big contract that he got. Right now, he is pressing. You can see it, and you mentioned it on third down. They're in a lot of bad situations on third down, too. And part of this is Lawrence, much like a handful of other guys that I've talked about. He's forcing it downfield, okay? Threw it downfield really well against Miami in week 1. But the last 3 weeks, it's way too much. In this game, on throws of 10 or more yards, 5 for 16 with a 57 passing grade. Over the last 3 weeks, he leads the NFL with 46 attempts thrown 10 or more yards in the air, but he's 15 for 46 with a 34.8 adjusted completion percentage. They're just not, he's trying too much to hit home runs and get the ball downfield and pressing. And honestly, mechanically, and it's funny because when Doug Peterson got there, the first thing he did was fix Trevor Lawrence mechanics. You could see it. We could go on the tape later, and I could show you the footwork and the base and different things. He fixed his mechanics because when they were under Urban Meyer in 21, train wreck. Footwork was a train wreck. And Peterson, it took some time. Peterson came in and fixed it, and it's starting to unravel. The fundamentals are starting to notice if you watch any of these balls, he's throwing 10 or more yards. Even the ones that's caught, they're all high. Every single one of them is high, all of them. And if it's getting to be now where Lawrence is going to have issues mechanically and with his footwork, and we're crawling back towards 2021 form, then you have a problem because you can't let that progress. Lawrence is still extremely young.
Right.
You cannot let that progress go backwards because the rest it is part of it. It is, to me, it is a team-wide problem. You see him trying to carry this team, but if the fundamentals get away from him, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. And that's why I think that a lot of Jags fans are like, yo, let's get these dudes out of here. Honestly, if Jacksonville picks number 1 overall, I've got to imagine that no one currently in the front office or coaching staff will have a say in who makes that pick.
No, and honestly, for them, if I'm picking first overall, I'm trading down.
Yeah, obviously, I think that is something that you can't do. Travis Hunter's really good, though.
he sure is.
Travis Hunter's really good.
But for as many things as he can do, can he fix their O-line problem?
No.
Can he fix their D-line problem?
Maybe. As a corner.
Blitzing
once in a while. Right.
Maybe like 2-3 plays a game he can fix
Wouldn't
that. But it's just they have
I know what you're saying.
Team-wide issues. And to blame it all on Lawrence does have his problems right now. He's absolutely pressing. I don't think there's any question he's pressing. But it's because the rest of this team is just they're not playing well enough to support him. And they can't afford this organization cannot afford for Trevor Lawrence to fail in this period of time.
For sure. No, especially because they don't even have the luxury anymore of, we got him on the rookie contract.
Nope.
No, you don't. So now you're actively just burning money if you're not doing what you need to do to surround him with a better team. And I think they do. I think it's some good pace. I think the reason why it's so frustrating is because it shouldn't be this bad. And that's why I think that, unfortunately, a lot of the fingers go back to pointing at the coaching staff. The most impressive of this game, I'm going to go with cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. You saw him in the overall top 5 grades. 90.3 coverage grade in this game. 4 targets, only 2 catches allowed for 11 yards, had 2 forced incompletions. And when it comes to single coverage specifically, 3 targets in single coverage, only 1 catch allowed. Derek Stingley Jr., another week where he is solidifying himself as one of the best young corners in the game. Not even best young corners in the game. I'll take the adjective out. One of the best corners in the game. There. I think he's having a fantastic year. Who's your most impressive?
I'll go to the other side. One of the best wide receivers in the game is Nico Collins. And it's
Truly.
funny because someone asked me maybe Thursday or Friday, they hit me up and they said, who around the league would you guarantee this week has a big week? And I said, Nico Collins. It's just too good a matchup against this Jags team, and he's that good. And for all the weapons the Texans have, he's the best one. 12 catches, 151 yards, touchdown, man, zone, you name it, he kills it all. He's a number one receiver, and for as many big-name guys, Stephon Diggs had a really good day yesterday. Tank Dell's really good. Dalton Schultz, the backs, CJ, anything you want. Nico Collins is their number one guy, though. He is one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he's proven it every single week.
I'm assuming with most disappointing being Trevor Lawrence, you kind of already went on there.
Yeah.
Okay, right, okay. Most disappointing for me, Houston's penalties. Did not know this until I looked it up, but 12 penalties for 93 yards against Jacksonville. They have 40 penalties and 326 penalty yards against. That's the most in the NFL. So, good football team. Still think Houston's a really good football team. When you talk about being number one in the NFL in penalties in a bad way, penalties called against you and penalty yards against you,
can't beat yourself.
That's the kind of stuff that shows up in January. You can't be doing that. I think the division feels like it's, I don't want to take anything away from the Colts, but it feels like it's going to be their division at the very top. So I don't know if they're going to be at risk of losing that home field advantage, or at least getting home field for one of those games. But when it comes to playing the better teams, you can't be doing that stuff. And I think Houston's way too good to be doing that.
And honestly, I'll be honest with you, the Jags should have won this game.
Yes.
They should have won this game.
Again, if Jacksonville can convert on third down even 2 more times, maybe this game's different.
Yeah.
So